Now, Shihoko Goto is an associate at the Woodrow Wilson Center for Asia program, and I asked her about the reasons behind the protests and what Taiwan should do to keep its competitive edge.
I think it's very much a politically driven thing, first of all, that there has been a lot of apprehension about the government to unilaterally push forward with this agreement instead of really going to Parliament and what many had hoped would be a line item by line item review of the deal. But it's part of the democratic process, and I do think it speaks volumes about the Taiwanese government and its ability to allow people to voice their concern, but perhaps it's actually taken a little bit of an extreme position at the moment.
I could see how the local government there is in a very difficult situation. On one hand, obviously, the mainland is a huge market for Taiwan. That's not a secret. On the other hand, you have this underlying politics that, unfortunately, gets into the fray of what otherwise would be just business, if you will. Mm-hmm. At the same time, Taiwan wants to increase the service industry quite a bit because this could be a precedent for later on when they do the goods deal. Is it likely this deal is going to pass regardless of the concerns or protests?
Well, here's the thing. Whether or not this deal is good for the overall future of Taiwan or not, it is certainly in Taiwan's interest to be economically integrated into the international community. And as you know, there are a number of trade agreements outside from this that are being debated both at a bilateral and multilateral level amongst many countries in the region. I'm thinking specifically right now about TPP, the Trans-Pacific Partnership Agreement. The types of issues that are being pushed forward by the TPP deal, i.e. it is not simply about market access, but it's also about regulatory reform and standardization. That kind of conversation and those kinds of levels of success are something that Taiwan really needs to aspire to in order to remain competitive in the international economy. So yes, I do think it's in Taiwan's best interest to really keep the eye on the prize being to continue to be an integral part of the global trade deals.
If the agreement passes, which sectors are likely to benefit from it?
The ones that will do well are the ones that are already competitive globally. Those are probably in the electronics sector. I also believe that biotechnology in Taiwan is extremely competitive and has certainly an edge over its Chinese counterparts.
That's something I forgot to mention earlier, in that a lot of these protesters, they're of the younger generation, and they seem to be the most vocal. Is there anything that you think within the agreement that would ultimately appease them?
Well, on the extreme side, they are saying that each issue has to be reviewed one by one, and any disagreements that are occurring need to go back to Beijing and be renegotiated, come back to Taipei for signature. Now, if that were to happen, and that would not happen, that would not send a good note for Taiwan as a place for international investment. So if that is what the students are looking for, I don't think that's actually in Taiwan's interest.
That was Shihoko.